guys, what's up? It's Harley and I am here to film an intro for my video because I always seem to forget one. But this is my October reading wrap up. This is Sansa. Anything else to add? She had a little more to add. Yep. And now Daisy's here, moving the camera. Oh, sweet girls. Hi, Daisy. Do you want to come up here? So, Daisy and I and Sansa from hope you enjoyed the video. I've read 4 books so far this month and I haven't talked to you about any of them. So, they're both actually from series, like the 2 and 2 are from the same series. So, the first one I want to talk to you about is Spookily Yours and Wickedly Yours by Jen Chipman. I don't remember what the series is called. It's like Pleasant Grove Witches or something. But I read both of these because they give Halloween vibes and that's what we're going for this month. So Spookily Yours is about a witch who lives in this little like quaint, quiet town. Her and her sister own a bakery and she ends up going to adopt a cat because her cat familiar passed away a few years ago and her sister's been kind of like after her, being like, you should get another one. So she finally goes in to get one and there's this black cat there and she decides that's the one she wants, and turns out this cat is not just a cat, it is a demon. It is a demon shifter. His name is Damien. He has been trapped in his cat shifter form by a witch, which I don't know if we ever found out why. Now I'm thinking about it. Like, why did she curse him? Like, was there a legitimate reason? I mean, honestly, he seemed pretty nice for a demon. So she helps to break the curse on him, and then they just kind of hang out because they like each other. He's actually there on a mission. He is looking for this special witch that is like destined to marry his brother, who is like the prince of the demon realm. And he needs this witch to become king. So he's supposed to be looking for her, but he keeps like procrastinating and finding excuses to hang around because he likes Willow, which I don't think I said that was her name. Willow's the witch. He likes Willow, so he keeps like asking for an extension on his little mission. And that is like the gist of the story. It's very cute, very cozy, low stakes. I did think it was enjoyable and it was cute. I did want like a little bit more plot from it, which I feel like we got more of that in the second one. So this one I ended up giving 3 stars because, like I said, I did think it was cute and adorable and it fit the season, but I wanted a little bit more from it. So in Wickedly Yours, this time we follow Damien's brother. Okay, well, I'm blanking on his brother's name, but we follow his brother and we follow Willow's sister, Luna. I can't believe I can't remember his name. But he gets tired of waiting for his brother to bring back this girl that he's been having him search for. So he goes and takes matters into his own hands, goes to the town and finds her. Turns out it's actually Willow's sister, Luna. And he kind of woos her for a bit, and then some demons attack her, and it's kind of like a marriage of convenience to start out with. He's like, you need protection, these demons are going to keep coming after you, I can offer you that. And so she agrees and he takes her back to the demon realm to get married. And of course her sister is like, where is she, what's going on? And Damien has to like tell her and bring her down to see her. And we get a lot more like backstory on the brothers and why it's so important for this marriage to happen so they can overthrow their father, who's like a actual bad guy. And I enjoyed that plot line. I felt like it was what the first book needed. Like, I didn't understand why it was so important that Damien find this girl, but in this one I felt the importance of it. So I enjoyed this one a little bit more. I still would have liked a little bit extra. So I gave this one a 3.75. Once again, it was cute, it was cozy, it was fun, it was a little spicy. It was good times. The next two books that I read are from the same series, as I said. The first one is How to Hang a Witch, and the second one is The Haunting Deep, both by Adriana Mather, I believe. I listened to these both on audiobook. I did enjoy How to Hang a Witch more than the sequel. So in the first one, we follow this character named Sam. Her father ended up in a coma 4 months prior to her moving back to his hometown in Salem. Her and her stepmother moved back because it's getting too expensive for them to stay in New York City, so they sell their apartment, move back, and then they're moving her father to the local area hospital. So she has a hard time making friends. Like, things always weirdly happen around her. So when she goes to this new school, of course, same things kind of start happening. Like, everyone's really mean to her. And I'm like, y'all don't even know her. Could at least talk to her, see how you feel. I felt like they were unnecessarily mean to her. The only one that's nice to her is the boy across the street, whose mother used to be best friends with her dad. So she goes to school, and of course, there's these group of people that dress in all black, and people call them the Descendants. They are descendants of the witches that were hanged in the witch trials, and Sam's relative was the one who, like, kind of, I don't know if he, like, really initiated it, but he, like, wrote a book on how to spot a witch, and that kind of, like, caused the whole thing. So, of course, they blame her relative for what happened to their ancestors, which, once again, a little unfair. Like, it wasn't her. Whatever. So she's living in her grandmother's house. Her grandmother has passed, and she finds these letters. She finds, like, a secret room. She finds all this research that her grandmother was doing on this supposed curse on the descendants of the people from the witch trials. And apparently there is a ghost living in her grandma's house, and Sam can see it. I did enjoy, like, the witchy stuff. I'm a little confused though, because it seemed like everybody knew they were witches, but then at the same time they didn't really seem like witches. Like, they said they only just started being able to, like, cast spells and stuff, but they've been trying since they were, like, 10. So I don't quite know, like, the witch rules in this land. I mean, it's like present day our society, but if they've been doing this stuff for, I don't know how old they are, like 16, they've been doing it for like the past 6 years, and they've only just started being able to do it. I mean, I feel like I would have gave up 6 years ago when nothing happened, but whatever. So I'm a little confused on how, like, the magic works and why everybody just is cool with it. Everyone's just cool with it. Like, oh yeah, no, they're witches. They're witches. They do their thing. You know, weird things are happening around town, but it's fine. It's normal. It's good. I thought that was a little strange. But like I said, I did enjoy, like, the witch stuff and how it tied in to what happened in the past. And I didn't even talk about the curse. I mentioned the curse, but I didn't talk about it. So this curse, the descendants are dying. Like, anyone that was related to these ancestors, now that Sam's there, they are dropping off one by one, and it's up to them to figure out why and how to break this curse. So I thought that was very interesting, and I like the ghost aspect. He was, like, helping her figure out what was going on because he's tied into everything as well. And I felt like this one really could have been a standalone. Like, it ends and it feels, like, wrapped up pretty much. I didn't think there needed to be a sequel. So this first one I gave 4 stars to. And now let's talk about the sequel, The Haunting Deep. This one follows the Titanic. Like, we're still in Salem, but all of a sudden Sam is seeing people that died on the Titanic. And I guess it's because the author was diving into her own history. She was actually related to Sam's ancestor. She used her actual ancestor in the book. And apparently she also had ancestors on the Titanic as well. So she tapped into that for this book. I just felt it was a little weird. Like, they were just learning about the Titanic, and all of a sudden she started seeing people from the Titanic. Like, why all of a sudden? Why did it coincide with them learning about it? Where were these ghosts this whole time before? Also, there was, like, someone kind of pulling the strings, and I was very confused about that. Like, how that worked, and also why they wanted Sam so much. I felt like the second book didn't work as much as the first one did. I thought the first one did with all the witches and stuff. I thought that tied in really well. This one just felt random to me. I didn't quite enjoy this Titanic stuff because, like, she would touch something and be transported, like, into a dream, but it was, like, really happening. So it was a little confusing. So I didn't enjoy that one quite as much. I ended up giving that one a 3-star, and it was just, there was confusing things. Like, a character came back, and I don't think it was ever explained, like, really why they came back. Like, they said they just wanted to, but, like, I need an explanation for that. Like, how? But I read both of them because they also had the witchy vibe of the season. Okay, I'm here to quickly update you guys on a book that I just finished. Well, it's still fresh in my mind. So I just finished You'll Be the Death of Me by Karen M. McManus. And this is like a little mystery, a little bit of a thrillerish YA book. So basically it follows these 3 kids. We have Ivy, Cal, and Mateo. They used to be friends, like, in middle school, but they, like, drifted apart by high school. But basically they all became friends because they skipped school one day in middle school, and now in high school they all run into each other, like, out in the parking lot, I believe, and none of them are feeling up to going to school that day, so they all decide to ditch together to, like, relive the old days. And while they're out and about wandering through Boston, they stumble across another classmate skipping school, and the girl Ivy has beef with this guy, so she wants to confront him, and when they find him, they stumble across his dead body. And then a tip gets out that they saw some blonde girl with him at the time. Ivy is blonde. Things aren't looking good for her. She was the one that found the body, and then the other 2 showed up after. So, you know, you're like, did she do it? Is she being framed? What's going on? And the thing is, with Karen's books, I either really like them or I think they're just okay. Like, I've had 2 that I've really, really liked. The first one of us is Lion Book, and the last one. All the rest of them I've given, like, 3-ish stars. This was another 3-ish star for me. I think I'm gonna go with, like, I feel like I should go 3.25. I feel like that's what I'm feeling. It was alright. It took a little while to get into. I feel like it took a while to get into the mystery part, and then my biggest thing about this is it all takes place in one day, and I feel like there's way too much going on to be contained in just the one day. They skip school, they stumble across this dead body, they get involved in some murder investigation, and they solve it all in the one day. And there's other stuff going on too. So, like, I feel like it was unrealistic that all that happened in less than 24 hours. I don't know, but it was a little crazy once you got into it. Things did tie together, and at the end, there's always something at the end that you're just like, oh my god, and you wonder how they deal with it, because, you know, a lot of times there's not an actual sequel. This was one of those. We got to the end and I'm like, what's gonna happen with that? So, like I said, I thought it was alright. It was okay. I did enjoy, like, the little romance aspect of Ivy and Mateo. of course, there was a little wrench thrown in there. And I did like Ivy, Cal, and Mateo as friends, and I'm glad that they became friends again. But overall, I feel like I could have been better. But that is my little review for that one. I'm trying to film this, and it's very unusual because I have you guys balancing on my markers. Yeah. So we're gonna see if this works and if I can film this clip. But I'm here to talk about a book that I read and finished earlier this week, I think. And that is Witchy Whiskers by Danielle Garrett. This is the first book in the 9 Lives Magic series. If the lighting's weird, I'm on the computer and it's doing things. But this is like a fun, small town, little bit mystery, witchy time, if that makes any sense. So basically we follow this witch named Cora, and she sort of like inherits her aunt's familiar, Celine, which is the cat. So Celine has been in their family for like generations, and she's like tied to them, and her life essence depends on being with her chosen witch. And the aunt has disappeared. They think she's off on a trip, and she just hasn't been home. And Celine, fending for herself, decides to go to the next available witch, which is Cora, and kind of like forces her, being like, hey, you're my witch now, so like I'm gonna live with you and stuff. And so obviously she's a talking cat, like Salem from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which I love Salem. I love Salem so much. So I did enjoy the talking cat part. She was very sassy and would give her opinions. I liked the one scene she came back and she's just like, Cora, you need to settle the bill at the fish market because they won't give me any more fish. And I'm like, girl, that sounds like a you problem. Because she's like, I have a monthly amount there. What do you mean? She ate through all that. So like, girl, no fish for you. But anyways, so it's funny seeing their dynamic together. And in this one, Cora's at her magical candle shop that she has, which sounds really cool. I would love to know more about that. So I hope we get more of her like making the candles and stuff. She's working at her candle shop when this guy comes in, and she helps him pick out some gifts for his mother, sends him on his way after she has to turn down a date offer from him because her ex-husband walked in. But the next day, who's in the paper but that man, and he is a suspect in his brother's murder. So it's like, girl, you got some interesting taste. Well, this guy ends up showing back up at her candle shop and wants her help figuring out who actually killed his brother. So they're like on a little mystery hunt trying to figure out who would want to kill his brother and why they are framing him. So it was very fun. It's very short. It's a little short book. And I'm definitely interested in continuing on with this series and see what trouble they all get up into. The next 2 books that I have to talk about are from a series, so we're going to talk about them together. And that is The Coven and The Cursed by Harper L. Woods. These are both like dark fantasy, paranormal, romance-ishy books. I don't know the exact term. We follow our main character, Willow, who's been trained to get revenge on the Coven or the Covenant. I don't remember which one's called. But it's a group of witches because her aunt was killed and her father wants revenge for her death. And it happened like, I think 50 years ago. So his sister must have been a lot older than him because it said that she took him as a baby and hid him away. Because in this world, like the male witches, or I don't know if they're called witches or warlocks in this, but they give up their like magic to have children. I'm not entirely sure how that works because obviously he kept his magic, but he had her. But there's this whole thing where witches are like giving up their power. They're giving up their powers for the Covenant under false pretenses, which Willow discovers. And she gets recruited to go to this school that just like reopened, and they found out that she is a legacy witch, but they don't know that she is from the Hecate line. If you hear all that noise, the dogs are over wrestling on my bed. So the headmaster of the school comes to collect her. He is a vessel, which to me was giving like vampire / demon vibes. Like they had fangs and they like drank blood and stuff, so vampire-y, but like they felt more demon-like to me. They embark on some little forbidden dark romance kind of going on. Basically, she plans to seduce him to find the bones to bring her aunt back to life. And he takes joy in kind of tormenting her and other things. So yeah, so definitely like darker stuff. Would probably check trigger warnings before you dive into this if you're sensitive about that stuff. But I thought these were fun. Like, were they excellent? No. Did I think more needed to be said like during these, or else I really think these two should have been just one book together. There were moments in both of these where it kind of like lulled out and I just wanted things to move along a little better. So I think if the story was contained in one book, it would have just felt better to me. But I did really enjoy both of these books. I gave both of them 4 stars. I thought the audiobook was very good. So I would recommend if you're in the mood for a little dark witchy read, which it's October, so I was. And I'm also very intrigued about where this one left off. I guess we're getting a POV shift. I know the next book is 2 other characters, but I don't know if they're going to have like 2 books. Are we ever going to go back to Willow and Gray? I don't know. But I'm very intrigued about what happened at the end of this one. The first book I have to talk about is The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. This is a STEM romance between 2 chemists. So our main character, Olive, is a student at Stanford, and she ends up in a fake dating relationship with a professor named Adam. So they are actually allowed to date because she doesn't take any of his classes and he's not on any like boards that have to do with her education. She doesn't specifically want to fake date him. He just happened to be the guy that was He just happened to be the guy that was nearby when she needed a guy to kiss. Her friend really likes the guy that she was casually seeing. And to convince her that she is over him, she tells her that she's dating somebody else. And Adam just happened to be there when she needed somebody to kiss. And he agrees to fake date her because he wants the college to think that he is sticking around. They've put a freeze on his grants, so he's like, if I have a stable relationship, they might unfreeze my grants so I can continue my research. So that's basically why both of them agree to this fake dating nonsense. And I thought that they were extremely cute together. He is very kind of sullen and grumpy. Not that he really thinks that, but to everyone else, he's kind of scary. But around her, he's like so sweet and like cracks out his little smile. And he's always buying her like their little fake fake coffee date treats and drinks and whatnot. And it's just cute because honestly, he's been dying to date her this whole time. So I absolutely ate this book up. I thought it was so good. I loved seeing both of them fall for each other. And you can't see my Christmas tree, although I don't know. The dogs did hit it, but I just hit my Christmas tree. I thought that they were so cute together, and I just liked seeing them each like bring out the best in the other. And they're both so supportive. Like, she had gotten chosen to make some like speech thingy at like a conference or whatever, and she was just like, why did they choose me? I have nothing to my name, this and that. And he was just like, you're gonna do great. And she was just like freaking out about it, and he offered to be there and like let her run ideas off of him. And it was just so cute, and he wanted to be there to like support her, and I just love a supportive man. And I just really ate this up, and I'm super excited for the movie now. The TikToks for the movie is the whole reason why I picked this book up. Sold me the one-armed lift, and I'm so glad I read it, and I'm ashamed I took forever to do so. But yeah, obviously I gave that book 5 stars. It was so good. I love it. It's a new favorite. The next book I have to talk about is The Black Witch by Lori Forrest, I believe, was the author. This is a fantasy book, the first book in a fantasy series. I don't know if it actually has a name. I don't know if it's like The Black Witch Chronicles, but I thought this book was very interesting. I did listen to the audiobook of this, which for fantasy, I usually won't strictly just do the audio because I just have a hard time paying attention. But I did pay attention to this one for the most part. In this series, I think the main like group of people were called the Gardenians. We're just gonna call them that, okay? The Gardenians. Basically, if you were a Gardenian, you were like kind of an outcast and ostracized and repressed. So the Gardenians kind of control everything. And there's a bunch of other like species, I guess, involved in this world. Like there are lupines, which are werewolves. There are some Icarals, which they kind of, I think they're the ones that reminded me of like Reese and Cassian and Azrael from ACOTAR. They had like wings and stuff, so they really made me think of them. There's a lot of different creatures, and it's like hard to keep up. But this is a very like, I don't know what I want to say. It's like very, there's just a lot going on, okay? I don't know what I want to say, but there's a lot going on in this series. So our main character, Lorian, is that her? See, look, it's been a couple weeks since I read this. I think that was her name, Lorian. She is a Gardenian. I forget how I'm saying it now. But her grandmother was the last Black Witch who supposedly saved, I don't know if it was just like the continent or their people or what, but basically she is like viewed as a savior, and they expect a lot from like her line, and Lorian doesn't have powers. I am certain she does, okay? I don't think she really tapped into them in this book. But like the first chapter is literally like when she's 3 years old and her uncle takes her out into the woods and does some tests on her to see her like power. And I'm pretty sure she lit that forest up like the 4th of July, okay? But he told her all it was a dream, you don't have any power. And I think he did something to like bind her power. Later on, I think she got tested again when she goes off to this college. And it was like she could feel something under her skin, but it like wouldn't release. So I definitely think that she has like some kind of binding on her. But basically her uncle sends her to this college because in this world, girls get wand fasted, which is like, to me, sounds like married off, when they're fairly young, like they said like 13 is like when they start pairing them off, and she is 18, so she has not been wand fasted yet, which is ridiculous. But he sends her off to college because her aunt wants to wand fast her, and he's like, no, I'm sending her to college, it's too late, I already like got her spot. And she goes there, and people are like extremely mean to her, and I don't really get why. If her grandmother was like such a big name savior person, why are we treating her granddaughter like trash? Is it just because she does not seem to have powers? But like I said, they're all like really mean to her. They send her off to live in like the outcast tower. That's like the only place available for her to live, and she has to live with the Icarals, the people with wings. And first impressions, they were a little scary and like acted like they wanted to kill her and eat her, and she spent the night in a closet. But things are not as they seem, and we eventually get to know like the outcasts, and they kind of become friends. And I really liked the outcasts. I loved the lupines. What was the one's name? Diana, like 10 out of 10. I love her. I want her self-confidence. Girl, she thinks she's all that. She is all that. I love her so much. Lorian also makes a friend that is also a Gardenian, and I think her name was Aislinn, and she's like the only one besides our main character here who gets to know like the outcast people and actually become friends with them. It's bad for her to interact with these outcast people because of her family. Like if her family found out, they would take her out of the school and immediately wand fast her to the person that she's supposed to be wand fasted to. I keep saying that like so much. And he's a terrible person, and she loves her family, so she doesn't want to do anything that would bring disgrace upon them. But she also really likes her new friends that she's made and sees that they're not what people have been saying about them. But yeah, basically this series is a intrinsic fantasy world with politics and stuff, and I'm very intrigued to see what happens in book 2. I actually really want to pick it up, so probably next year I will continue on in the series. I gave this one, I believe, 4 stars because I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was really good, and I thought it was a very interesting start to a series. So yeah. And the last book I picked up was a physical read that took me like all month because I was just slow and I didn't really like want to pick it up, but I kind of did. You know, when you see what it is, you'll know. So I picked up Marked by PC Cass and Kristen Cass, and this is the first book in the House of Night series, and this is an oldie. Was this like 2007? Let me look. 2007. I hit that right on the head. But this is a series about vampires, and I loved this series back when they were coming out. I was like so obsessed with them. I own all of them. I think I'm missing like one novella, and I didn't get into the spin-off series. I'm pondering if I do that with this slow reread that I'm going to be doing. I went back and forth on whether to get rid of these because I did reread this a couple years ago, and it's not good, y'all. It's not good. It's nostalgic, but it's not good. So basically, I was going back and forth on whether to get rid of these or not. But the nostalgia has a hold on me, a chokehold, and I decided to keep them. And then I decided what would be fun is to annotate them. Silly goofy time. So that is what I did. I annotated this one. Got it right here, being like, oh, first time reading it in a decade. Woo! But, yeah, so I went through, made some annotations. And like I said, there's a lot going on. But let me tell you what this is about if you don't know. The idea of this is actually like really, really good, really fascinating and everything. So basically, in this world, we have humans, but we also have vampires. And now you don't become a vampire by being like bit by one. It's a biological change that occurs within your human body at some point during your like teen years. So our main character Zoe starts feeling kind of blah, and she's coughing a lot and everything. When she goes to school, there's a vampire there, a tracker. Now the trackers find the people that are going to become vampires. Somehow they know this, I don't know. And they go there and they mark them. So I forget if they just point at you or they touch your forehead or something, but you get a crescent moon outline on your forehead. And you basically have to go to a house of night, one of these vampire boarding schools, or you will die. Your body will reject the change and you will die. So Zoe has to go to a house of night. Her mother has been kind of like a dissociative parent, I guess, ever since she got remarried. She remarried somebody who's very religious, and of course, instead of being like, oh my god, my child is becoming a vampire and needs to go to this school or else she will die, it's let's get on the prayer chain on the phone and let's have people come and pray for her that, you know, everything will go back to normal and whatnot. So she dips and goes to the one person she can trust, her grandmother. And while she's there, she falls, has some kooky dreams where she sees the goddess Nyx, who is very important to the vampires. And when she wakes up, her crescent tattoo outline is filled in. Yeah, it's filled in, which is odd because that doesn't happen until you fully become a vampire. You just have the outline. So when she goes to this new school, she's already different because of this. But she goes to this school and she makes some new friends, gets like adopted into the friend group, and I like their friendship a lot. But I know they've said the one author is a teacher, and she said that her students helped her sound like a child, sound like a teen. I don't know what kind of teens she was talking to, but they do not sound like teens. This book is like kind of mature themes with childish language. And I'm sorry, but Zoe is like the biggest hypocrite out of this whole cast of characters. She's always talking bad about people to herself. She might not say it out loud, but she's talking to herself. But because she didn't speak it, she's a good person. And I'm like, girl, no, you're like worse than everybody else. Like, at least Aphrodite's a bitch, but at least she owns that she's a bitch. She goes to this school, they have really cool like vampire classes, and you learn about why your body's going through this change and what will be expected of you as you hopefully make it into adult vamphood. And like I said, they have this whole thing with like gods and goddesses, and they have like rituals and things. It's all very cool. They also like do stuff with like the spirits. I say the spirits. The elements, that's the word. So, you know, you got like earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And I really enjoy all that stuff. Like I said, I enjoy the idea of vampirism being a biological change, but the way it's written is just not good. But nostalgia reasons, I reread this. I gave it 2 stars, which is the same as my last rating that I gave it, because like I said, it's not good. This is the thing, it's 2 stars, which is bad, but it's not a bad 2 stars because of the nostalgia. Like, I read this and I hated it, but I enjoyed it, if you get what I mean. But yeah, I don't know, if you want to check it out, go for it. I think it's a fun time, but like I said, the nostalgia has a chokehold on me, and I'm just too far gone to let this go. So I believe this is all the books that I read this month, because a lot were on audio. But I read a good amount. I think I ended up reading like 12 books. I'm not sure about that. I read a lot of like first and second books in series this month, which was kind of crazy. I thought that was a little wild. But I think I had a pretty good reading month. I enjoyed, I think, most everything. There was like some like mid I enjoyed. And I did read a couple really good books. Like I really enjoyed The Love Hypothesis and The Black Witch. So I think it was a pretty successful reading month, in my opinion. No, I did not finish my William read. That's carried over into November. But we don't talk about that. But let me know what you read this month, what your favorite book was, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.